Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today, I want to talk about meditation again, my favorite topic, over and over again for the past 30 years. That's what I talk about. Why? Because you have been disconnected from your ground of being. You have been disconnected from your life. And you have, in exchange for the true life, you have taken on another life, an emotional life, a worldly life, a life of reacting to the outside and giving what life you have to the outside, and then taking in from the outside the identity on the outside. In other words, if you look at a fish, for example, all you have to do is watch a fish for a little while. You have a pretty good idea what its environment is, don't you? Or a deer, or a bird. You have a good idea what its environment is. Well, you look at a human, and you have a pretty good idea what its environment is. Its environment is temptation on the outside that's separated the person from his or her ground of being and reacting to that temptation. And then through a process of gradual spreading, it spreads to everything, till you're reacting to everything. Till you react to everything as if it were temptation. But remember what happens in temptation. The temptation wants something from you, doesn't it? You know, when people have a sneaky way of saying things, or they couch what they're really saying, they're looking for some kind of a reaction. They want to get to you. And how about people that tempt you to spend too much, or eat too much, or buy too much, or do things that you really ought to be doing? What do they want from you? Well, they want your money. They want your life. They want your support. They want something from you, don't they? And they take it. That's right. They seduce it from you, and you give it to them. You give in. Every time you give in for peace, you give in to go along, to get along. Every time you give of yourself. And you literally give up what life force you have to them. And when you don't have any life force left anymore, then it's all over. So you need to be able to hang on to your life force so you can use it to have a little bit longer to discover the purpose of your existence. So what is the true life? Christ told us about the true life, and he was the most real human being that ever lived. The true life is a life from God. And that is what you were meant to express, to experience, to be in. That life. And then you would go through the world as a tourist. In other words, I'll give you an example. It kind of makes sense. Let's suppose that you have a United States passport. You go to some awful country, some dictatorship country where everybody gets thrown in political prison and tortured and, that sort of thing. Such countries do exist, totalitarian dictatorships, intolerant. And so you go there, but you have your U.S. passport. You're a citizen of the United States, and what it stands for. What does America stand for? It stands for freedom. And for what's right. At least it used to, and it still does to some extent. But you have your American passport, and so you're not subject to that country. Do you understand? And so you go there and you see the people, and it's all very interesting, and the food and the clothes, and things to buy, and the buildings, and it's all very interesting. And it's fun to watch and look at. Okay, and then you come home. That's the way we're supposed to go. We're supposed to go through life. But then suppose that you lose your American or renounce your American citizenship, and then you become a citizen of that country. Then what? You become subject to them, don't you? You're no longer a tourist. It's no longer good fun just watching and looking and marveling. Now you're no longer a tourist. Now you're subject. It's all different. So when we go through life, we ought to be citizens of heaven, citizens of God's kingdom. That's right. Citizens of God's kingdom, and then subject to Him. Wouldn't it be nice to be subject to God, who is good, and who is wise, and who is patient, and who is kind, and who is true? Wouldn't it be nice to be subject to Him instead of to deceit and trickery and lies and seduction and all that stuff? It would be very nice, wouldn't it? It's like having a good father. Wouldn't it be nice to be in a home where there's a good father, wise, noble, stands for what's right, but he has a twinkle in his eye, a sense of humor? Wouldn't that be nice? Of course it would. But what has happened to you now? Are you subject to God's kingdom? No. What are you subject to? You're subject to everything else, to your compulsions, your addictions, your indulgences. And you make yourself, by way of the fact that you are not a member of God's kingdom, you become subject ipso facto to everything else. So you become a slave of what otherwise could be good. Work is good, but you become a slave of it. Being married is good, but you become a slave of your husband or of your wife, of your obligations, of your medications, of your bills, of your addiction, of your food. And then if you start exercising, you try to lose weight, you become a slave to it. You're a slave. You enslave yourself to everything. And so you belong to it. You belong to everything. It owns you. See? And you become a slave to every little stress because you react and react and react. So you're a member of God's kingdom. Here comes somebody and they do something confusing or a little bit naughty, or they make some remark, and you just marvel. You just watch. You observe. And it doesn't bother you. It's like you're a tourist. You see? But what do you do now? No, you get angry. You become resentful. You judge them. You want to get even with them. You think about what they said. See? Or you use their wrong to go and tell other people about her and what she did. See? So you become a slave of it and subject to it. So when you judge others, remember Christ said, if you judge others, then you'll be subject to judgment. Same judgment you judge them with is what you'll be subject to. Wouldn't it be much better to be a tourist in life? Just watch, marvel, observe, see? And sometimes understand. See, when you understand, a lot of times people are confusing. You don't understand. Don't try to figure it out. Just watch and wait. But sometimes if you're meditating and you're coming to God's light, then you will understand. But when you understand, then what are you going to see? You're going to see they can't help themselves. You're going to see they don't know what they're doing. You remember Christ said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. You're going to see that it was done to them. Whatever they did to you, that someone did it to them. You can see that they're lost sheep. You see all of that, so you don't hate them. See? Isn't that nice? But you don't feel sorry for them either. See, the problem is that now you resent people, and then in your resentment you feel guilty, and so then you try to be extra nice, or you turn the resentment around so that you feel sorry for them or something. See, you're always reacting for or against every day. Learn not to be for or against. Just watch. See, just observe. You're in another country. See, and they do things and you kind of wonder about it. It doesn't bother you, and you're not subject to it. That's why we meditate. When you meditate properly, you are subject. It's a voluntary act of submission to your Creator who made you. See, you become still. Instead of rushing around to do things, to make things happen, to try to figure things out, see, to impress people, to appease people, to make up for something, you just sit quietly and experience the present moment and watch the little particles of light on the inside of your eyelids, little spiritual light that you can see. So you're outside, so you're not even subject to time. When you meditate properly, you're outside. You're not in thoughts, you're observing thoughts. You're in the world, but not of the world. You're actually outside of time. You're no longer subject to time. It's a most marvelous, wonderful thing. The only way you can experience it is you actually have to do it. But it won't work if you really don't want to know the truth. If you want to hang on to your ego or some grudge, if you want to hang on to something that is too important, doesn't matter what it is. You make it too important. As long as you want to hang on to that, or you want to get yours. You see other people getting a big promotion or something, and you think, well, after all these years, I'm going to get mine. As long as you make anything too important, it doesn't mean that you won't get a promotion. See, it just depends on how you do it. See, one way you're a slave, which is the way you are now. Another way you're free. And then good things happen. You didn't make them happen. See, the other thing is if you try to make things happen, you do it without understanding. You do it with the wrong timing. And then you feel anxious, don't you? Because you know deep down in your heart, you know that something you're manipulating. So you feel anxiety over it. And then if it doesn't work out, then you feel guilty because you meddled. See? But if you just observe, and then something good happens, it's wonderful. You didn't make it happen. You don't have to feel guilty. You can enjoy. You see? I said on my radio program the other day, a quote from one of the Beatles, George Harrison. It's such a beautiful quote. I love it. George Harrison said, "Life is a birthday cake. So have a piece, but not too much." Isn't that nice? So enjoy all the good things, not too much. Then you won't be a slave of them. Okay? Learn to be with people without wanting something from them. Then you'll be free. See? Don't resent them. Then you'll be free. My name is Roland.